Now, what we're going to look at next is an example of counterpoint. Counterpoint basically means taking two melodies at the same time and playing them at the same time. And now the melodies have to be constructed pretty carefully, or else the musicals start being really chaotic. What we're going to hear first is an example of something that could be called imitative polyphony or imitative counterpoint. You're going to read about that when we get into the music of the Middle Ages and Renaissance and into the Baroque period. And even later, composers use this counterpoint technique. Instead of thinking about writing chords, they take melodies and combine them. And this first style, imitative counterpoint, we're going to hear the same melody repeated in two different instrument voices. This is going to be high notes on a piano and low notes on a piano. But if you just look at the basic shapes, and again, I know you don't read music, most of you, but look at the basic shapes, you can see that this part down here is the same basic pattern of the row, row, row your boat melody, but it starts two measures later. You may have done this when you were in kindergarten. Did you ever sing Row, Row, Row Your Boat as a round, where one group of kids will start singing Row, Row, Row Your Boat, and then they'll continue with the melody while another group comes in singing the tune from the beginning. Row, row, row your boat. That's what you're going to hear here. And again, this is an example of imitative counterpoint or polyphony, polyphonic music. We'll talk about in a next lesson. Imitative counterpoint. Now, this example has two voices, but in some of the music we'll study, you can hear many, many voices coming in, playing the same tune. And by voices, I could mean actual singers or instruments. You might hear the violin section start with the melody. Then a couple of bars later, maybe the violas come in. And a couple measures later than that, the cellos come in, or the basses, or the trumpets, whatever. Imitation is the key thing. So let's listen to this little example, Row, Row, Row Your Boat. It's played in what's called a round. A round is just a fancy term for very strict imitation, means the exact same melody. It's not always the case in imitative counterpoint. Sometimes you hear most of the tune, but some of the notes might change. This is a round. Everything is exactly the same notes in this part and this part down here. Okay, here we go.